up, babes? It's Bimini, and we are back with a brand new episode of The Pieces, and I am joined by Minogue's sister, Dannii. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh my God, I'm so excited to have you on here.
Thank you for having me, yeah.
You just landed?
I've been here a few days.
Okay.
So, over the jet lag now, and it's good to be back. Obviously lived here for a long time, but lived back in Australia now. So.
The jet lag gets me bad.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it really does. Anytime I've gone to Australia, first few days, I'm just wiped out.
Yeah, walking sideways. I was walking through M&S the other day just to get some bits of food. And I thought I was walking straight, and then I just went, ooh.
It's weird because you just don't know why it's doing it. It's so disorientated.
Yeah.
Before we get into this, though, I just want to know Australian humour versus British humour. What do you think?
Well, I really grew up on British humour. I saw a lot more British comedy than Australian comedy. My parents would always be watching British stuff. Fawlty Towers was one of our absolute favourites, and can still go back and watch that anytime. Blackadder was a big one.
I feel like there's quite a common crossover, like a crossover in humour style, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. A bit cutting and like a bit sassy.
A lot of people have relatives from here that live out there. Like my mum came out to Australia from Wales when she was 10. So she was one of the 10-pound poms. She was on the last ship that went out before it was destroyed. So it's like we have, family and heritage from here, and it just seeps down into what you say, what you find funny, for sure.
What was it like growing up in Australia, though?
I guess it was very outdoorsy.
Are you outdoorsy?
Very free, because I'm a kid born in 1971. So growing up in the 70s and 80s, there were no helicopter parents. The main thing you had to have was a BMX bike, and you just had to be back by dark to have dinner. You could go anywhere between school and dinner time. Whereas, I could never parent like that. Now I have a 14-year-old son and I could track his phone. It's like, where are you? So it was just, very free. The big things in my world were just like playing in the garden. Could we get a pool in the backyard? Can we have pocket money to go to the milk bar and get like the mixed bag of lollies and get fish and chips on a Friday night? Or go to the pancake parlour. They were the big things in my world.
And so would you say you're quite outdoorsy? Or was it just like quite a natural thing?
I do love being outdoors. And then sort of music and pop culture. It was, for me, ABBA, Olivia Newton-John. My brother was AC/DC. My sister was into ABBA and then Prince. And so there was a lot of different music going on at home. My parents listened to a lot of soulful music and like had these great records from Stevie Wonder on. And it was just mad and fun and free.
Did you always know you wanted to go into music? Was that something that was like from a young age?
I just had this penny drop moment watching the movie Grease and seeing Olivia Newton-John. I didn't know what it was that she did or that it was a job, and she did a few things, acting, she could dance and she could sing. But I just thought that, whatever that is, I really want to do that. So I asked my parents, could I go to some lessons to learn to sing and dance, which I did. But not thinking, I've got to do this. This will be my life. It was just a hobby, a pleasure. And I wanted to be able to kind of sing along to records at home. And you'd save up your pocket money, you'd go to the record store. And then I got discovered at this place where I was going to have lessons. And then that kind of changed the direction of everything.
Can you remember that moment where you thought like, oh, actually, this is going to change now. I'm going to be pursuing what I actually want to do and make a thing of it? Or was it like a kind of long, like felt like a hustle?
I went into a TV show in Australia at a very young age. That was like, people know here, I guess, like the Mickey Mouse Club. And this show is called Young Talent Time. It's the biggest show on TV. It was on every Saturday night. And there were only 8 kids on it at any one time. So you'd enter the show at around 8, 9, 10. You had to leave at the age of 16. So that enabled new kids to come on board. And we would be singing songs in the charts. And I got discovered and they wanted me to audition for that. And I stepped straight into that. So I was just like, wow, I really I really get to do what I want to do on my favorite show. And I had that pinch me moment where I'm walking around, I'm like, I am here on set. And it just, it was those moments that just changed everything. I think it was my singing teacher and my dancing teacher at the school said to the producers, this girl has just got something, so you should audition her.
I think that's really beautiful, and I think that's really important for people to nurture that, because I think a lot of the time when kids express themselves creatively, they can be shut down. And I think like allowing people to nurture that side. So I love that happened.
Yeah, our parents were really good at letting us do, like we could choose one thing that we wanted to do. So my sister was really into instruments. So she was learning the flute and the piano and the violin as well, I think. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be dancing around. And my brother was just like into sports, kind of. So they just let us each do what we wanted to do.
What was it like being in the spotlight from quite a young age?
It was a very different landscape. Yeah. So in Australia, we didn't have paparazzi, but there was media involved in the show. Home life was normal. So just walk to school, go to a normal school, walk home and go straight to rehearsals. So the after school was very different, like 5 nights a week rehearsing, working all day Saturday as a child. And
that's a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and we didn't have any like tutors to help. Our parents had to drive us. So my parents are juggling, trying to, get 3 kids through homework, cook the weekly meals, and then be driving me around. We never kind of knew what time we would finish rehearsals. It wasn't that set. There were no rules back then of how long kids could work. So we just worked till it was done. So that sort of gave me this incredible energy as an adult to just be able to keep going and doing things to the point where I would absolutely kill myself.
It instilled a work ethic, but like,
yes,
my mum's similar. She would always tell me like, no one else is gonna pay your bills. You got to work your ass off and do it. Yeah. Which I'm kind of glad that she did. But sometimes you've got to take a moment for yourself and just be like, how do you do that? Do you find those times now? Like any self, like mindfulness, anything like that?
The only thing that enabled me to turn that switch off of going regardless of how ill I would make myself was becoming a mum. So you have to then have a bit of balance in your life. And that's actually been the greatest thing. I think quite recently, I used to do a lot of exercise. Now I enjoy more meditation and mindfulness things and cooking or just being outside or walking.
Everything could be mindful though, I think, if we distract ourselves away from phones. Cooking, for example, you just get zoned in, or like the walking, reading. I think, all of that really kind of helps keep you zen.
Yeah.
I feel like phones and like social media is so difficult to navigate with like constantly all of the screens and just seeing so much information. It's insane. I feel like it's changed so much and I don't think we've kept up with it as like a species. I don't think we're like equipped to deal with that.
Yeah, it's hard because like my son's grown up with it.
And different.
You need the phone for all of your schooling things, where you're meant to be, so your parents can know where you are to communicate. But then trying to teach these kids kind of how long to be on your phone and what's healthy is very, very hard to navigate when everything's set up so that they need to be on it.
What do you think for like a lot of like kind of celebrity culture, maybe like the pop girlies now compared to like, I guess the 80s and the 90s? Can you see a massive difference in the landscape?
Huge. Like, I think the pop girlies now have a real voice through podcasts, through their own social media. They can immediately react to things. They can shut things down. They can get rid of feuds that weren't even there, that someone else has tried to create. And really, I think, have a lot of honesty about what is going on. The 80s, the 90s, you didn't have a voice, you didn't speak up, you wouldn't say anything bad against your record company, a TV show, a publication, a journalist. Otherwise, you were not working anymore. Shut up, turn up and do it. That was it.
Yeah, that's crazy to think now, actually. Yeah, that's a really good way to look at that because, we do have a voice now. Obviously, and
I think Madonna started a lot of change because she was like, listen, I'm going to say what I want to say. I don't care who it upsets. And she had this platform so big that she could, and she was like breaking through for female in the music industry. And that was just like, everyone just looked up to her like, oh my God, you know.
It's what, I mean, I'm glad we got onto Madonna. Like my favorite. But like, yeah, I mean, she does. And I feel like a lot of the younger LGBTQ generation don't actually appreciate Madonna as much because of, she did break down walls. And even with like stigma around HIV and AIDS at the time, she was very vocal about that. And it must have been quite radical for like someone as big in pop as her to be just being like, I don't care. So it must have been, I would love to see that. You've seen her documentary?
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah. I mean, she really just was very strong about moving forward with her opinions. And there's a great space now for a lot of younger artists to be doing that.
Thinking back to when you were coming up and like when you were breaking through as well, what would you tell yourself now as Dannii, to younger Dannii, like about anything? It could be any advice or
younger Dannii as in what age?
Let's say younger Dannii, 21.
21. Don't be so eager to fall in love.
Great
and
advice.
marry the wrong person.
Sound advice.
Oh, that would be great advice.
I mean, because I feel like at that age, I thought I knew everything.
Yeah, it is that kind of age. And it was tricky for me trying to navigate it because I'd grown up working with adults, communicating with adults my entire life. So I felt like
I've worked since the age of 7. I've worked full-time since the age of 10. At 21 and then 23 when I got married, I felt like I've lived a pretty full life. I've lived all over the world. You know, it's kind of, but you only know what you know at that age. Still a lot of living and growing.
Working for so young that's a lot. Like being so young and getting that work ethic, that's quite intense.
It's wild. Like when I meet other people that have worked since that young, there's kind of some knowingness, especially with it being a different era back then. So I got to work with Lindsay Lohan in Australia. We were panelists on The Masked Singer. And it was just like, you know, I grew up with Lindsay and seeing what she's gone through, seeing a lot of people that have gone from a child star through to still working as an adult is really interesting. Most don't make it, or you've got all your stumbles in front of the world. And it's pretty difficult. So to just speak from like one woman to another, I just looked so deep into her eyes and I'm like, hi.
Yes.
I was like, there's going to be stuff that you get about me and that I get about you that no one else in the room is going to understand.
And I love that. And I think that those conversations are so important for people to have because there's a sense of solidarity.
Yeah.
And like togetherness and that like, yeah, I feel like it's a lot of the time I think women are pitted against each other and it's like kind of they're told one thing whereas actually like it's all part of the, get into it, patriarchy. It's all patriarchal.
I know. Why isn't that
the same with men?
Yeah, exactly. I want to go into the journey with the LGBTQ plus community because new show is out.
Yeah.
Second season of I Kissed a Boy.
DVC 3 had just been so fantastic in making a space that other dating shows, when responding to requests about the community seeing themselves, was saying it was too difficult, logistically too difficult.
I'm so glad you said logistically difficult. I was going to ask you how logistically difficult was it?
Well, it wasn't because we just threw out the rule book of what dating shows were, started from scratch. And I think it's all about intention. Like, what do you really want to make? Yes, there could be a gay dating show, could be a horrible one. So the intention was to make something really beautiful that wasn't stoking drama, that was just showing different people from the community who are looking for love and for them to, you know, be a part of that representation. My friends had always said, if I had a show like that growing up, my life would be so different. Particularly, I'd had a lot of conversations with my friend Ian Masterson, who grew up in Belfast, and he's trying to explain to me, the girl growing up in Melbourne, Australia, the difference of that landscape. And like if there was a TV show, he would have had something to see and to feel. And
and to know. And so he ended up writing the theme tune song for the show. He just said, I need to do this because it's so needed. It was super cool that after we did the boys series, it went straight into the girls.
So good.
Because some things that I've noticed working in the community, the boys had much more visibility.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I'd done a couple of Mardi Gras shows in Sydney, but the first one I did, I was performing all with girls from the community. And I just thought, this is beautiful, it's magical, it's all the girls, and just like what a great way to do the performance. But it wasn't till someone from the Mardi Gras board explained to me, there has never been an all-girl show. Girls haven't performed there. And I was like, what?
That's crazy,
right? Yeah. And I think that was 89. And I was like, the boys have been putting on shows forever. So that visibility. So it was really special to me when we went straight into the show for the girls and now circling back to the boys and it being a completely different group. My friends are asking me, is it much different from the first series? And I'm like, yeah, well, the boys from the first series had all the pressure on their shoulders of they didn't know what it was really going to be like. Someone can show you the brief of the show. They can tell you what it's going to be. But when you don't know, there's got to be such kind of hesitation about, are they really trying to like screw me over or is this going to be okay? So I feel like it was a little more hesitant and it was a gentle slide in. The girls just like came in full gusto at such a fast pace. We just had so much catching up to keep up with them every day. And then the boys came in having that real, that visual. They'd seen 2 seasons roll out. They've seen how the press rolls out from it. And when we filmed this, it was September last year, completely different landscape than what's happening now when we're launching. But there's always a bravery with every set of cast that are doing this. There's a bravery to stand up and be vulnerable. I cannot imagine like kissing someone and then watching it on. We did the screening last night. It's like a cinema-sized screen. Yeah. Like watching yourself kiss someone and then they're going to watch it at home again. Like Sunday night it's out, like with parents, with friends. I'm like, they're brave. Yeah. It's so cool.
Oh, I love that though. And you're so right about the representation, especially with, season 2 of I Kissed a Boy, but I Kissed a Girl was so radical in a way. Radical, but it shouldn't be radical. But it was. And there's some breakout people like Amy Spalding, love.
Amy, yeah.
Such a force.
And I feel like the conversation that Georgia had about her intense reaction to the word lesbian was a real eye-opener for the girls who were there with her for production. We were watching this happen on the screens, and then when the show actually went out to air, it was like within the community there are lots of different people from different backgrounds, different opinions.
Totally.
And, we're all part of it, and it's not just one cookie cutter mold. Mm-mm. And that's what I love about the show.
I think you're so true there. And I think the community extends beyond just the sexuality. It includes allies, it includes people that support. Like, I think it's very wide and it's stronger together. And when we come together and we can celebrate everything, that's where the beauty lies. So I love that the show is getting to kind of showcase so many different people and different parts of the community. And I think it's incredible that you're doing it.
And it's been really beautiful to watch. After the seasons go on air, the cast become quite famous. They get asked to go to things. They're, marching with different charities. They're going to the Mighty Hooplers and they're meeting each other. It's just been so beautiful. At the launch last night, there was a guy there from Terence Higgins Trust. And I said, it's so fantastic you're here. And I've seen a lot of our cast members, really come together with your charity. And he said, well, I remember when you did a lot of work for our charity in the 90s. And he said you were giving a speech in a room to these people. And he said, I was in that room. I was a little boy and I now run the charity.
Oh, wow.
It's just it's wild. And I said, look, there's just such a great synergy with this show, with their charity and with Switchboard. And he was explaining that without Switchboard, there wouldn't have been a Terence Higgins Trust because it was some of the members that had worked at Switchboard, then went off to start Terence Higgins Trust. And it's just like all of these people, we've all been around for a long time, and we're bringing our own experiences and coming together to be stronger, exactly like what you're saying, and amplifying love, healing, acceptance, visibility, all of those great things, and joy.
Well, thank you for all that you have done and continue to do. What do you think? What do you think when you hear the word gay icon? Because you are a gay icon, icon as well, but a gay icon
it's
too.
It's very scary to
hear it said to me, because I think of like Cher, I think Madonna, I think Dolly Parton,
I think Dannii Minogue.
It's you never see yourself that way, and I've heard Cher say that. She's like, I don't wake up thinking, oh, I'm an icon.
Well, yeah, of course. I feel like, but like you have always supported the community, and I think that's so important. And having allies like you is so important for not just representation, but to just allow other people to feel like, I can do what I feel is right and support a community that deserves or needs it. Because I feel like we're very colourful. I know we can be chaotic, but we're colourful as well.
I can be chaotic.
Exactly.
It's been
I guess a long part of my life. And if people ask me like, when did you start to be an ally or think about that? I'm like, I don't remember not being that, because as a kid working, I always had friends that I was working with from the community.
If you saw something wasn't right, you spoke up about it. And then that was my world. So I just kept traveling down that road. It wasn't like, oh, today I'm going to decide I'm going to be an ally.
But I think that's the thing. Like, you lived it, you were around it. So if you have that experience, people that don't get to have that experience, they're the ones that are quickest to judge. And I think like go to the community events, go and see like how beautiful it is, and like be firsthand before you judge. I think like it's really important.
I got this gorgeous friend, and she's in a small friendship group with my parents. So she's been around since before I was born, and my sister and my brother, and she's been around our entire lives. And she went to Mardi Gras in Sydney with a friend. She was invited to go along. And she obviously knows a lot of work that I do, that Kylie does, how important it is for us, who our friends are, what we're involved in. She's kind of like an auntie to us. And it was wild because she went to the event and she said, wow, it was the greatest thing to see people just feeling so confident in themselves and celebrating and coming together and helpful and kind to each other. Not what, maybe she would have seen through a media outlet.
Totally.
To actually be there. And she said one of the most beautiful things was just like walking there through Sydney and walking back and just soaking up the vibe. So she said like when people were leaving the event, they might stop at this restaurant, this bar. And she walked into this a gay bar, and they adopted her. They were just like, oh, you're going to be like our Nana. She gives the best hugs in the world.
Oh, I love
so
that.
She's like giving out hugs, and they were like celebrating her. And she's like, I get what this is to you. And I'm like, yeah, you got to go every year to Mardi Gras.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. Mardi Gras is amazing.
Yeah.
The sense of like the vibe of the community is beautiful. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Talking of gay clubs, are there any like moments or standout clubs or from like back in the day or now that you loved?
Like I've sort of been to clubs
all over the world.
Yeah, I bet. Do you prefer gay clubs?
Yeah, the vibe, the music, the fun, the celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not getting harassed.
I don't feel threatened. I feel like I can really kind of have that release. That's what a club is for. Obviously, have a big history of GOY in London. Was like first pop performer there. And went back many, many times, and it just felt like this beautiful place to be.
I got taken by a friend of mine to clubs in New York, and I remember a lot of the drag queens would be running the doors on those. I remember meeting Lady Bunny there.
Really?
Yeah, I've met a lot of people.
I remember meeting RuPaul like back in the day.
So yeah, the club scene was was really fun. And that New York one came from that heritage of Studio 54 of just celebrating everyone in their wildness and whoever you want to be and come really for this night out, for this escape from what life is. So yeah, it's always a big part for me. And you see how important music is when you hear people's stories about, I've always received a lot of letters about my music. And, you know, if people send something, they're like, oh, can you sign this record? There'll be a very detailed letter on what that means to them about that music represents this total safe space and comfort. And whenever they like hear these songs, it takes them to a space of discovering themselves or those first moments really stepping into who you are, not who you've been told to be. And it's just, for me, it's wild what all that music represents. And then there's like, your song was like, oh, I had my first kiss at the club, or we played it at our wedding. Like, music is so powerful.
So I used to DJ years and years ago before Drag Race. Not very well, but I used to. And then Did
you love it?
I love it. So I've got back into it. So I really was focusing. And then last year I had my first set and I opened with...
I know,
I did a remix of Put the Needle on it.
Yeah.
Like, Put the Needle on, and it was mixed in with Put the Needle on the record. And it just worked so well. And everyone just went crazy because it's just like hearing your vocal come through. So I love that. And it does, music's so transformative and it has such a power. And I feel like, I mean, I've got down here 13 number one singles on the UK dance chart.
I think it's more than that now.
Is it more than that now? That's crazy. That's incredible. And like, I mean, the music is timeless. And I feel like it was such a moment, especially for a lot of, you hear it still all the time with the gays.
Yeah. And then I remember there was a time when I went to Ibiza a lot and then was like really getting involved with a lot of remixes and more in the clubby world. And it's been great to go from the pop more into the dancer.
I love dance music.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorites is Ruda Silva, Touch Me. I feel like that just rolling hypnotic song.
So do you listen, what do you listen to when you wake up in the morning?
Dance music straight away. Yeah. Like house, all different genres really, but housey, more house at the minute. But I like a bit of trance. I've been like working on learning production and like doing that side, but I've been DJing a lot. So it's fun. I just love all different types of dance music. Maybe not all of it.
Dance around to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so important to do. Disco was my first love though.
Oh yeah.
What's your favourite disco?
Eartha Kitt, Where Is My Man? Which I feel like is a really... you can't. It's not on Spotify or anything. It's not on streaming. But I remember finding it in a record shop years and years ago, and then listening to it on my friend's record player, and then finding it on YouTube like a rip, and it's just so sexy. Like she purrs, and it's just about like her being really unapologetic in like the 70s when she'd done it, or 70s, and then she's talking about like doesn't need a man basically. It's really good.
I remember being in New York as like late teens, and I was walking along, and I saw she was playing at Carnegie Hall. I think I went on my own just to see
Amazing.
her. Yeah, she was really like in her power on stage.
Love that.
Cool. For me, it's Donna Summer. So another thing we used to do as kids is go like skating, and like there would be a lot of disco music and pop music, and then there'd be the speed skating section. And Donna Summer was big, Tina Turner, Bee Gees, and all sorts of stuff. But a roller disco. Yeah.
I know, bring that back.
Can you please DJ a roller disco? I want to come. I want to have light up wheels.
Let's do it. We should do it for the closing party of I Kissed a Boy season 2.
Yes.
Talking of that, like if you could sum up the show for this season in 3 words, what would you say for everyone that's going to be watching?
It's an absolute love bomb celebration.
I know this isn't in one word. In the midst of
what's happening.
Yes.
It's escapism.
But it's pure and it's real.
Yeah, it's hard to sum it up in one word, but celebration if I have to say one.
Amazing. Well, I'm excited for people to see it. So the first 2 episodes are out for everyone to go and watch it. And I'm really excited.
Weekly, like on a Sunday and a Monday night, but BBC iPlayer drop 2 episodes every Sunday. So, that's a good way to like kind of get ahead of it.
Are you excited for everyone to see it?
Watch them more than once.
Yeah, do you? Okay, yeah. I love it. Like, I feel like, and everyone, the looks you pull as well.
Oh, yeah, a few months of work put into that, as you know, with the couture outfits and lots of luggage dragged into Italy each year. And it's fun as anything, kind of getting to turn up in that fairy godmother Cupid role and dress the part.
Is there anything you've learned from the show? Like, obviously you have an idea of, you've been around the community so much, but has the show taught you anything?
So much. It's just so much about, firstly, the younger generation and how they feel about themselves in the world has been really, really beautiful. A lot about digital dating. I've never been in the digital dating world. I don't know. I only know through these cast members like what it's all about. And you can see that there's such a desire to get away from that and to have that eye contact and that connection. You know, like I said before with the girls, like the huge reaction, good or bad, to the word lesbian was a real surprise to me. There's always so many nuggets of information in each show as people sort of unwind within the masseria. It's a bit like an onion. You peel off the layers.
Yeah, I feel like that's true as well with like the idea of, well, I think in the society as well, lesbian is almost fetishized by a lot of the patriarchy and the men. It's always back to patriarchy.
I had to learn, I learned a lot about that. There's so much we see in the show and then conversations that happen afterwards. So when I watched the show with friends, I love to like get their opinions, and it just sparks conversation that we never would have had. So I think for that, it's really important that the show's there. So
I always think it's not for the male gaze, it's for the male gaze, you know? That's the real thing. So thinking about people now, like you were saying about like learning about how people view themselves now, like for anyone that is struggling with themselves or their identity and figuring it out, is there any advice you'd give to anyone?
Finding like safe people, finding your tribe, finding people that allow you to be you. If you're just surrounded by people who are telling you that you should be something different, you can see how it really hurts people. It destroys their soul. It has a big impact on mental health. If you can even just find that one person, and sometimes, you know, that may be reaching out to a charity and they can connect you with other people. Like I remember some of my friends were saying when I went in to meet Switchboard, they were like, we used to call Switchboard back in the day to say, we're in Manchester, like, is there a gay club here? Where do we go? Like, it was like the directory back then. Because you couldn't Google stuff. You didn't know. There was no...
ChatGPT.
No, you had an A to Z and you didn't know where you're going. So, just connection and finding people that will help support you.
Amazing. I've got one more question to end on, but I want to do a little quick fire round. Yep. This is just a fun, silly, just say the first thing that comes into your head, basically. Glitter or leather?
Glitter.
Ooh, nice. First pop star crush?
George Michael.
Good one. Yeah, love that. What's your go-to karaoke song that isn't one of your own?
I think I Believe by Cher would be like a fun one.
Texting or voice notes?
Voice notes.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm the same. Most iconic outfit you've worn? Or favourite? What you're wearing right now? You do look gorgeous.
Iconic outfit. I think standout from this new series is the pink one that I arrive in. And it's kind of got this shape at the front that looks like a butterfly. And my friend's designer made it, and butterflies signify something very, very personal to her. And for me, it was like, you know, we're going to release this thing. So it's like,
reborn.
You know, all the layers of, and I know you're the same when you get dressed.
Yeah.
There's a lot of meaning behind it.
For sure. Oh, I love that. If you're DJing at a queer rave, what would you open with?
Well, I love the mashup that I had with Dead or Alive, Begin to Spin Me Round.
Mm-hmm.
I think those just first iconic beats.
I love that. What's your most used emoji?
This one.
And then last one.
I don't know.
Yeah. If your life had a tagline, what would it be?
Oh.
I always think that's like turning around on the Real Housewives.
Oh, wow. I don't know. What would you say about me?
I would say stand up for what you feel is right and look fabulous while you do it. That's your Real Housewives tagline.
Or it'd probably be, because I'm a Minogue, do not forget the high heels.
Yeah. Do you know what? My mum's 4'11", so I'm not blessed with the height either. So don't forget the heels. I'll take that as well. Okay, last question, Dannii. Thank you so much for coming on the Pieces. I've loved this chat. When you look at the pieces of your life, so your career, your identity, your legacy, your relationships, what do you think they all come together to say about you and who you are as a person?
Connection, even though it does feel really piecey, and like I get so annoyed when someone's like, you do this and that, and you're like a slasher, and it's like, I don't know. It's, for me, the connection is everything. It's the synergy of how they work together, and that just puts that fire inside me, makes me excited, and gives me joy and happiness.
Thank you, Dannii. I Kissed the Boys Season 2 is out. The first 2 episodes are out. It's out every Sunday.
Yes.
Go and stream it. And thank you so much for coming on the Pieces.